We're super excited because this video is the debut of our brand new, high-tech, new and improved Canadiana lens test chart. And this is early access beta, like 0.864. It's getting there, but there's still more stuff we got to add on here. Now, this is in no way meant to be a scientific lens test chart, but I think it'll be pretty good. It'll add some consistency to our lens reviews, and it sure beats that bamboo wall. Welcome back, DPRB TV viewers. It is Chris Nichols here, and I'm joined by
Jordan Drake, your favorite.
We're gonna do. That's not true. We're gonna do something a little bit like we did before with the Sigma 65 and 35mm lens. We're both gonna be on camera today. You're gonna test out the 24mm F2. I'm gonna test out the brand new Contemporary 90mm 2.8. Yes. So, it's not a competition, right? We're just getting both lenses in one video. I'm going to be shooting the one in S5, which doesn't have an AA filter.
And I've got an S1H, so the images might be a little bit softer because this does have an AA filter on it. Fortunately, we shot all the sharpness tests, both on the S5, so that's what we're going to use as a reference.
So let's get on to this friendly, not competition.
There's wasps everywhere. Let's get out of here. Photography's fun, huh?
My flip-flops make lots of noise in this tunnel. And we do really love the build quality on these lenses, hey? I mean, they have weather-resistant seals, beautiful metal construction. I love the way the focusing ring feels. The aperture ring feels great. The hoods are metal. I mean, everything feels quality.
I hate when you say quality, but I also really like that they're including pinch caps if you want, but then they also have this magnetic cap, so if you're not using the hood, it's just really easy to quickly pop it on and off. I like hoods, so I don't tend to use it a lot.
They all feel the same when I lose them or put them in my pocket and forget about them.
One thing I'll say, we're seeing a lot of really lightweight plastic lenses, and honestly, I'll take a few more grams for construction like this over the lightest possible plastic build. This feels great.
But they're still not even that heavy, right? I mean, this 90mm is very compact, 295 grams, same amount of days it took the Phoenix lander to get to Mars.
Okay, mine is 365 grams, same number of grams as days in this godforsaken year, so pretty close.
There you go, perfect.
And if you want a little lighter version, there is also a 24mm f3.5 as well.
Right. Now, for filters, you might want to use those. This uses 55mm, but yours isn't that bad.
62, both not the most standard, but you can certainly find them, and they're affordable filters.
We both think that the build quality on these contemporary lenses is quality.
I concur.
All right, Jordan, let's get right down to the testing. Let's talk about bokeh first. Let's go back and forth.
Yep.
So let's talk about cat's eye. On the 90mm wide open at 2.8, I definitely see it. By 5.6, basically disappear.
Mine is exactly the same.
Oh, okay, easy, okay. Mine does have a little bit of a soap bubble effect around the bokeh. Yeah, it's not bad though. I mean, it's not super intense in the background, quite pleasing, I would say overall.
Yeah, same thing.
And when I stop down the 90mm, I still get nice round bokeh balls thanks to
I would say mine are a little bit polygonal when you stop down, but again, it's an ultra wide angle. You're not really buying this for bokeh. What you said, it's not a competition.
So macro next, Jordan. Now, first off, the 24mm 3.5 had amazingly good macro.
Right.
What about this?
That's really the trade-off. You get a faster aperture on this, but you're down to like basically 1/7 life-size macro reproduction with this.
I'm not doing much better. I'm getting 1 to 5. The macro lenses, these are not.
No, definitely not.
So we did some more testing here. Let's talk about Bokeh, where you get that color fringing in the foreground and background out of focus. I noticed on mine it was actually very well controlled.
Yeah, it's there certainly if you're looking for it, but it's certainly not going to ruin a picture.
Right.
The next test I ran is stopping the lens down to f16 to take a look at the sunstars, because that's something that's really important in a wide-angle lens, and I was quite impressed. I mean, we've got nice, clean tines on it. They're good-looking sunstars, and also shooting at f16, that's where ghosting can be a real issue, and there is a little bit, but it's certainly not obtrusive.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, for me, it's kind of the opposite story. I mean, 90mm are arguably not where you're really looking for
No
sunstars.
one would ever, maybe, some maniac.
But they're not great here. Nothing to write home about. And of course, when stopped down to f16, where ghosts really start to show up, mine look like, when the camera sweeps past the sun in an 80s action film. I mean,
let's shoot that.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful, but if you don't like it, well, you're kind of out of luck.
So Chris, autofocus tests on Panasonic bodies are a little bit tricky because we can't send them out to an external recorder. That actually degrades autofocus performance. So you can listen to the beep.
Yeah.
And these are really fast focusing lenses, even though they're stepping motors. It is snappy.
Yeah, I didn't really notice much difference between the two lenses, but when it came to our video breathing test, the 90mm breathes about the same as a cadaver, which is to say it doesn't.
Dark. Mine actually does breathe like a living person. It's not terrible, but it's definitely there, and if you're looking for it, you'll notice it. So video shooters, take note.
All right, so taking a look at sharpness on the Sigma 90mm, first shooting in the center, wide open at f2.8, you can see the sharpness is already really good, okay? There's not much room for improvement. Now, when we stop down the lens, you can see it gets a slight bit sharper, but it's already so fantastic wide open. Now, when we take a look at the corners, at f2.8, here you can see just a little bit of softness in the corners, but as we stop down the lens, that cleans up really nicely. Overall, though, I'd have no problem shooting this lens wide open.
Now, as far as the 24mm f2 is concerned, I was actually really impressed with the central sharpness wide open on this lens. It is very crisp. However, you do notice a little bit of softness right towards the edge of the frame. Now, once we stop down, you can see that from the center right to the edges, we are getting beautiful sharpness right across the frame, which is very important if you're going to use this lens for landscape. It is a small, very sharp little landscape lens. So Chris, what kind of photographer should buy your little baby lens there?
Well, I think that's the key, is a photographer looking for a little itty bitty baby lens, because the compactness is really the main selling feature here.
Right.
But you look at other Sigma lenses, the 85mm 1.4, super thin, shallow depth of field, but it's big and heavy, right?
And more money.
Sure, more money. So you might want to go this way. But then
awesome.
There's also the 65mm f2. I like that lens a lot. Gives you more light gathering capability. Sure, but this gives you similar depth of field. And I actually like the compression of the 90, the look of it.
Right.
So I could see this if I was going against a 65mm f2. However, you also have to consider that Sony and Panasonic make excellent 85mm 1.8s.
Yeah.
They're not that expensive, they're not that bulky, and I think that would be more versatile than this.
Yeah.
So as much as I enjoyed this, I'd probably go an 85-1.8 instead. So how about you, Jordan? Who should get your little 24mm lens?
Well, I mean, it's really tricky in E-mount because there's a lot of options. Like the Tamron 24mm 2.8 is a pretty good lens optically, but you know, it's quite a bit slower, and certainly the build quality on this, it's just more fun to use. I love the aperture ring, things like that. But also Sony, you've got the 24mm 1.4, which is one of my favorite lenses ever. I mean, it's a lot more money, but if you can swing that, it is one of the best wide-angle lenses ever made. In L-mount, things are a little bit complicated because you've got that slower 24-35. If you don't want that shallow depth of field, that might be a good way to go. But also, Panasonic just announced a 24mm 1.8, and they've been making some killer little compact lenses. I really want to test that before I can say which is going to be the better way to go.
So as usual, Chris, simple and straightforward. Jordan, his
long
life,
and rambling.
Complicated. But thanks so much for joining us. I hope you guys enjoyed this little look at these two very cool lenses. We love these little contemporary lenses. Yeah. Please check out the links in the description below to see the sample galleries for both of these full galleries. Leave your comments below as usual. Please like and subscribe. And otherwise, thank you guys so much. We'll see you soon.
Bye, everyone.